In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, which, much like yesterday, we are taking a look at a whole lot of severe weather. We've had some for the past few days. We're going to continue to have some today, tomorrow, and for the foreseeable future as we are in the peak of the severe weather season. It shouldn't come as a huge surprise, but we are seeing a huge influx of this severe weather that is pretty unusual. The amount all at once that we are seeing back to back to back to back days doesn't happen every year, so it is a interesting pattern to say the least. And we went through a quieter phase for a little bit there between April and May, but we are really rushing back into an active pattern, so we're going to be discussing that today. Now let's take a look at our CAPE, convective available potential energy. This is just thunderstorm food that the models are able to predict using the humidity and the temperatures, and it really just shows how much potential energy there is for thunderstorm development. And really, as a rule of thumb, the greens are going to be enough. The yellows is certainly enough, and then the oranges and reds is excessive amounts. So there is enough for multiple thunderstorms to occur in one day, back to back. And then as we work our way into the purples, the whites, the blacks even, that's where it gets just crazy high amounts. So let's take a look at later on this evening. I want to take us towards something that's going to be a little bit after you guys are watching this video. And you can see that we have really high amounts here scattered about from Texas up through Arkansas, Louisiana, up into a bit of the Midwest. We also have a really elevated amount there for the Carolinas up through Virginia, DC, Maryland. Those areas are seeing excessive amounts of this CAPE as well. And these happen to be some of the areas where we're watching for severe weather throughout the day today. Of course, we will look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But these are some of the areas that we're really seeing the activity rolling throughout the day today. Looking towards tomorrow afternoon, we see that there is a lot still for these areas in the southeast and even up the mid-Atlantic coast. Again, an area where we do have a really elevated chance of severe weather, and we do see some really high amounts here for Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, into Mississippi also. Really wouldn't be surprised to see thunderstorms throughout this entire area. So that is your primary area to watch for tomorrow on Saturday, the 17th. As we work our way in towards Sunday, the 18th here, this is kind of the afternoon / evening time. Of course, this is Eastern time that you're seeing on screen, so you should translate it a little bit, but generally the afternoon. We can see that the highest values here are going to be found throughout the deep south, kind of Gulf states, Texas, Oklahoma, where again we're seeing the whites and blacks, which again, we need you need just any CAPE to see thunderstorms, but the general rule of thumb is about 1,000. The areas in central Oklahoma there are seeing around 6,000. So that is 6 times the amount that we typically look for severe weather. So there is obviously a huge amount of potential for thunderstorm and severe weather development there. Working our way towards Monday, which is going to be another day of our next outbreak. We're in a current event right now. We're coming to a close for this once we reach into tomorrow evening and into Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon into Monday is going to be the beginning of the next event. So we'll see it better on the precipitation when we look at that in a little bit, but we do see really elevated amounts throughout your classic areas, separating the plains and a little bit of the Midwest there. There's also a decent amount throughout the southeast as well for Monday. Tuesday here, again, this is the one that doesn't really move too quickly. We do see elevated amounts for these areas, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi seeing the most, but there is plenty to the north and east of there. Looking towards Wednesday, we see this on the move towards the east, and really the area that I'm going to be watching for Wednesday might be this southeast area, or almost certainly is going to be this southeast area Wednesday afternoon into the evening. So we'll work our way into a more similar day to what we're seeing today, at least in the southeast areas in the more interior states. As you can see, little to no CAPE for those areas, but the southeast seeing another pretty big day for Wednesday the 21st. Then for Thursday and on, we do get some activity moving into the southern plains in the extended range. We do see a little bit of a lull in the overall potential here. Of course, this could change. This is the end of the model run. So between days 10 and 15, we do really slow down, but that is far enough out to where we could see some decent change between now and then. Looking at the precipitation, which again is going to help to clarify kind of the two separate events. We see this area here. This is a primary area to watch for today, where we do have an enhanced risk. We might even have a moderate today. Yeah, I think we do. We have a moderate risk in there today. We're also going to see some stuff sparking up here for the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast area where there is a slight risk of severe weather and even some severe thunderstorm watches up and in effect right now. So lots and lots of activity today. It's a pretty busy one for a lot of different areas. There, those severe thunderstorms are rolling through this evening. This is 5 a.m., so overnight. And we just see tons of thunderstorm activity for the Deep South, Ohio Valley, Appalachian Mountain Range ongoing. The parent low up here is over the Great Lakes, so you see this dragging cold front. Warm front is somewhere way up to the north up here. Just a really nasty setup. Saturday afternoon, again, the main area I'm watching is going to be this kind of East Coast area. But right as this is happening, we see a low here over Utah, and that is going to be event number 2. So again, here is event number 1. Is all of this activity here, and then actually event number 2 is over here, and it's going to develop a lot more. So it is 2 separate events, although there's not going to be a break in between them. 2 separate events. Looking towards Sunday afternoon, we see that this new low is going to be a pretty intense one somewhere in eastern Colorado. Lots of mountainous snowfall out west still happening. And we're going to be watching this area as these thunderstorms spark up Sunday evening. Some of them already popping up by the afternoon. We actually have more of a nor'easter setup with event number 1 here. Probably little thunderstorm or severe weather chances there, but mostly just a really steady rain and maybe even a little bit of a wind event up there in the northeast. Just moving forward a couple of hours, nothing too crazy here. We do see a lot of this heavier activity sparking up in that severe weather area overnight Sunday into Monday, so that is going to be a really, really big concern, obviously. By Monday afternoon and evening time, this is 8 p.m. Eastern, we see this low is somewhere near southwest Oklahoma, kind of north central Texas, somewhere in that area. We're watching for severe weather throughout all of these areas for Monday evening. Really, really a nasty look. As we move towards Tuesday afternoon, we see this just slowly expanding eastward. We still have a really big area to watch here for the Midwest, Ohio Valley, deeper south areas. Then as we work our way into Wednesday, again, the primary area I'm going to be watching, because your low is here. Typically, I always say to the southeast of the low is as a rule of thumb, going to be your primary area to watch. We're going to be watching the Mid-Atlantic southward into the southeast for Wednesday the 21st. And really, interestingly enough, looking at your jet stream, something like this is the current setup. So we do see a decent trough for this time of year moving in. More heat and dry weather out west, and the southeast, this is going to end soon, but there is some warmth still there as well. Moving towards Thursday, there is still precipitation around for a lot of the eastern states, especially the further north you go, but clearly the jet stream is a massive trough in the east, ridge in the west, so we are going to cool down. Again, the key word here is cool, not cold. The lows might be pretty cold if you're closer to Canada. Areas further south and more, Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, it shouldn't be too bad. We still should be seeing at least upper 60s as highs, lower 70s, something like that for these more mid areas. The northern areas is where there's a better chance of like low to mid 60s as highs, but still not cold. It's more just cool for this time of year. And I mean, it is pretty impressive. We are at May 22nd by this point. So this is like, how many days are in May? Let me see if I can pop this up. Well, I can't actually right now, but probably about 30 days in May, obviously. So we're about 8 days away from meteorological summer by this point, and we're dealing with low to mid 60s probably in the northern areas. That's impressive for this time of year, I would say, but again, still not frigid or anything. Friday the 23rd, a lot of the same, some thunderstorms for the plains there. As we move past this, we get these thunderstorms happening in the plains and south central states and down through a lot of the southeast. But we're not seeing any monster lows with serious cold fronts happening in the long range. But again, that is subject to change. What's interesting is we're seeing a pretty blank slate pattern on the long range, and that kind of leaves room for anything to kind of start to trend in because it is such a blank template of a pattern, so we will see what ends up transpiring. Total precipitation here is really, really elevated in the areas that deal with not only a lot of the severe weather in a lot of these areas, but also the nor'easter and maybe even more than one up there in the northeast. So that's just going to lead to a lot of precipitation throughout these red and brown areas. Looking at the anomalies, it kind of reflects what I just said. Interestingly, the Gulf Coast and South Central states are actually dealing with a below average precipitation pattern. But we're getting towards the time of year where it's really, really hit or miss. I talked about this yesterday, but if you live in a town, let's say, and there's a town just to the north of you or to the south or east or west, you know, somewhere near you, they might get hit by a major thunderstorm that brings 2 inches of rain, and you might entirely miss out. And that's a 2-inch difference, you know, that can be as little as a mile or two away. That's going to lead to this being very, very tricky to forecast on a localized basis, of course. So take it with a grain of salt. This is going to be kind of the higher and lower chances of above and below average precipitation, but it's really, really hard to actually forecast what is actually going to happen for a very specific location. For instance, like your house, it's going to be hard to say whether you're going to see above or below. But if you're in the blue or green, you have a better chance of seeing above. And if you're in the brown or red there, you have a much better chance of seeing below. But again, one little difference can make an entire difference on what ends up happening compared to normal here. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks, we're going to start with day one. This is a long-range outlook. We have a lot going on here, obviously. 3 general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens, and as the name suggests, it's where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory always. We do have the darker green area there, and that is our marginal risk. That is where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. The yellow area is going to be your level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered about severe weather reports to come in. The orange area there throughout a lot of the Midwest and Ohio Valley is going to be your level 3 enhanced risk, where we expect a little bit more widespread severe weather to occur. And then your red area there for the Midwest and maybe even a little bit of the southwestern Ohio Valley, that is going to be your level 4 moderate risk, where we expect a lot more widespread activity to occur in there, potentially even an outbreak for today into this evening on Friday the 16th. Looking towards tomorrow on Saturday the 17th, we do see, again, a general thunderstorm risk, 2 marginal risks, and 2 slight risks, which is still a busy day. Again, kind of like the Mid-Atlantic Southeast area, and then the South Central states. Day 3 here for Sunday on the 18th, which, again, is when we transition from Event 1 to Event 2. So we see everything back out west again for the Central states. And once more, we have a general thunderstorm risk area, a marginal risk, a slight risk, and an enhanced risk already for Oklahoma and Kansas. This looks like a very bad day on Sunday the 18th, and really looks bad for day 4 here on Sunday the 18th. Why is it the same day? Let me refresh this real quick. Okay, so unfortunately, this is a little bit of an error. I refreshed it. We're not really getting anything different. Let me see if yeah. Okay, well, nevertheless, we have a risk of severe weather for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I wish I had the updated and extended day outlooks, but I really don't at this point. So go ahead and check out the Storm Prediction Center website, SPC. Just search that up, you'll find it. There is a day 4, 5, and 6 outlook, and I think we have 30% chance areas at least on day 4 now, which will be Monday. But it might even be for more days than that. It's looking really nasty for really the whole start of next week, and again, all the way through Wednesday at least. So please pay attention, get those updated outlooks, and figure out if you're in a risk area or not as of now. But we will learn more over the coming days anyway. So be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.